My name is Dirk Barman. I'm a trained architect and had worked in the architectural field for a number of years. But in that process, since varsity, I've always been producing artworks. And I had an incident while traveling in France where my girlfriend was in a serious accident. And I then realized that actually what I really want to do is be an artist. And then since then I've been trying to survive as an artist, but still working in the architectural field to keep the ship afloat. And so currently I lecture at this university in the architectural faculty, and then when I have time I produce work. For me, being in the Buddy Society means that I don't have to toe the line of gallery culture, and it's a lot more, so it's a far more empowering process of being part of a group of people who share resources, who share knowledge, rather than a gallery saying, we hold all the knowledge and you can come into our stable, but it's on our terms. We're here, we dictate what the terms is, how we're going to show, where we're going to show. And I find that very liberating, empowering, and also the opportunities that come out of it is far more extensive than showing through a gallery.
My name is Neil Nieuwert. I have been working as a professional curator since 2008 in a small independent gallery in Cape Town. Then I worked as a personal assistant to Wayne Barker for about a year and a half and moved up to Joburg. After that, I started working as the curator and gallery manager at Nyrox Projects at Arts on Main for about 3.5 years. And that's through all of those experiences that I learned the skills to be able to co-found the Dead Bunny Society, and also, same as what Dirk said, it's more because of a necessity, I think, that we started doing it, or that we created the group, because there are gaps in the system, in the gallery system or in the gallery world, that we're all dissatisfied with, or we're dissatisfied with. So we just decided to do it for ourselves initially, and then the idea sort of just mushroomed into curating shows along with other artists, and yeah, it sort of just started snowballing. Yeah, and I'm a practicing artist as well, but I create my own work. Yeah, and that's basically it. That's me.
Okay, my name is Peter Monnes. I'm a full-time artist. I've been a full-time artist since I left high school. And what makes the Dead Bunnies special to me is actually a sense of community and realizing that you're not alone in this world, because I used to work completely alone on my own without any kind of support, and it gets very lonely and very it's very isolating, and you don't realize that other people go through the same things. And it's been like the most amazing thing working with other artists, not just the artists here, but also other artists who we collaborate with, and seeing that they're actually in the same situation and they're going through the same things, and you're not alone. And there's actually other people out there like you.
It's actually a support group.
My name is Stefan Erasmus. I'm currently working as an assistant curator at a major corporate collection. I have worked in various other galleries. I've also lectured, educated privately, and I am a practicing artist. I think Dead Bunnies is quite crucial to me, because there is the sense of working in isolation, and you can talk to other artists, but working so closely with a group where you can bounce ideas off and you can implement particular ideas from a curatorial point of view as well as production is really incredible. And I think we're not just a group, it's almost like having an extended family. And I think that is important to what we do. We're not in it for business, we're in it to make our future better, as well as the other artists that we work with. And I think the really interesting part is how we reach out. It's not just us, it's everybody else that wants to come with us. Yeah.
Here you referred earlier to gaps in the art market that you thought as the bunnies you would be able to fill. Could you elaborate a little bit on those gaps?
There's no real platform, like a project space or platform for unestablished, I don't know if that's the correct word, or emerging artists, fringe artists. And I think also that's why all four of us are have been working on fringes. We don't have mainstream art really, and it's not that there isn't a market for it, it's just that most of the established galleries cater for a certain sort of following, and they have certain artists that they show. There's no real fringe platform. And I don't want to label us as a fringe platform because we also work with artists like Wayne Barker, who's quite mainstream and, well, relatively. But I suppose he also comes from a fringe, so I guess that is the closest sort of way of explaining it. It's like filling, there's a lot of good artists out there that don't have anywhere to exhibit. There's no platforms for them.
I think as opposed to fringe, we're an alternative.
Yeah, that's better.
I think one of the prime examples is about empty spaces.
Yeah.
That is, we get artists involved and you start asking serious questions about who has power, the artist or the curator, so that the curated work becomes an artwork in itself.
Yeah.
And I think it's a difficult position to be in terms of being the alternative, but it is incredibly needed.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no real, it's also about building a network amongst galleries and artists and producers and framers and printers and all of those types of things. And that is lacking because there's no real central network for artists really. You have bands of it, I'm not really sure what they do. We'll have to just edit that out.
Also, another thing
yeah, you can't go to a gallery and ask them, for help or technical things or whatever. And we also always help people if there are artists that are looking for framers or so that network in terms of working together, even if it's not directly beneficial to us, that network is important, I think.
I think that the other thing is that we, and this is something that a lot of the galleries are not doing. They don't want to work with other people. They want to guard their whatever they've achieved. And what we're trying to do is kind of is to work with absolutely everyone and not have these, if someone shows potential, we'll work with them. And also, like, it's not just in our industry, but goes over to other industries and helping everyone who we come across, actually.
I think it's also it's about an understanding of a more open source society.
Mm-hmm.
So it's rather than saying we have information, we're holding that information to ourselves, it's just saying by sharing that information, not only do we ourselves benefit, but everyone else benefits, and they together, everyone lifts up the standard to a far higher level than you could do if you held all that information to yourself. And I think essentially it's a dynamic model rather than the traditional static model of this is an institution and you follow the rules of this institution. So sometimes the way you do things gets deformed by the way other people do things, and then it gives you ideas, and then you begin to experiment of how things are done rather than, we do a show every 3 months and it's always in the same space and you just rotate the artist. So there's this constant experimentation and seeing what the results are and what's successful and what's not successful.
It's also reflected in your name. You're a society.
Yeah, and which we actually gave a lot of thought. After the initial sort of idea, we spoke about it again and gave it a lot of thought. that it shouldn't be a collective, or shouldn't be called a network, or shouldn't be a this, that society really is the correct definition for what we're doing. And it's also, we are the core group, yes, but we are open to working and sharing resources with other, and we do that with other collaborators and artists and stuff. So it is, the whole thing is the Dead Bunny Society. It's not just that.
I think the network for us is very, very important. And we've got a network of other curators, we've got a network of galleries that we work with, framers, and I think that is in essence what is lacking. Because everybody's sitting on their own little anthill, and what we're doing is we're creating sort of the network underground of how these things are linked in, and I think that's very, very important.
And it's also sharing advice.
Yeah.
Advice which other people feel that, you know, this is ours. You know, we're not going to share it with anyone. But we just feel like, you know, we want to share it with absolutely everyone.
You've been active for just over a year, Dirk. It's been a busy year.
It's been absolutely amazing. So the amount of work that we've done, but also the amount of experiences, and again, this so it's not just experience, but it's experience that constantly deforms how you think, which I think has been amazing. So if I look at where I was in terms of my experience, in terms of my understanding, it's grown tremendously within that year. And I mean, I think every show that we do and every collaboration that we do deforms us in some other kind of way, which I think is the beautiful part of it.
You started off March 2015 with a show at Underculture Contemporary in Port Elizabeth. Why PE?
So I think Peter should answer that question.
So I got a phone call from the gallery, and they asked me if I could put together a solo show, and it was just too close notice. And so, well, we were already kind of associated, we already knew each other, and so I just thought, well, why don't we put a group show together? And then through that, I think it was Neil who said, why don't we just form a...
So you asked me and Stefan if we can't just come meet you to help you with just like to give you some ideas or advice or whatever. And then we all met here in the studios, and then we said, well, why don't we started talking, and then eventually we said, well, why don't we just do this permanently? We formed it as a group and called it something like Dead Bunny Society. And then a couple of other names sprung up, and we like settled on Dead Bunny Society. And that same evening I made the logo, I went home and I made the logo.
Where did the name come from?
From right there.
The truth is 4 bottles of wine.
And lots of wine now. But yes, from right there. And there's actually, afterwards somebody came to me, there's what's that artist that did like trying to explain art is like trying to explain art to somebody that doesn't know. It's like explaining art to a dead bunny or a dead rabbit or something. What is that artist?
That's Yusuf Boyce who did
Boyce. People keep coming to me, oh, did you base it on that sort of performance that you did? I said, no. It would, we can say that, I think. And then another person came to me and said, no, there was a Dead Rabbit Society in New York in the 1930s. They were against the current governor or the current mayor, and they were a very sort of subversive group, gang really. But also we didn't know about that.